Hi, and welcome back to another part of our Bible study as we look at Psalms in the summer. And this is accompanying our worship sermon series at United Methodist Church of the Covenant. I am Reverend Heather Humphreys. This is my husband Brian. And we have just been leading this back and forth discussion. And if you want to know, yes, this is how it is in real life between us. We have differing opinions. We come at it from different perspectives, and yet this is our time of devotion that we share together as we seek to understand the way God is calling us. And this summer we are using the Psalms as our primary method of doing that. So today, Brian, I think we're going to look at Psalm 40. Okay? So I'm going to read that to us. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the desolate pit, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Happy are those who make the Lord their trust, who do not turn to the proud, to those who go astray after false gods. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts towards us. None can compare with you. Were I to proclaim and tell of them, they would be more than can be counted. Sacrifice and offering you do not desire, but you have given me an open ear. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required. Then I said, here I am. In the scroll of the book it is written of me. I delight to do your will, O my God. Your law is within my heart. I have told the glad news of deliverance in the great congregation. See, I have not restrained my lips, as you know, O Lord. I have not hidden your saving help within my heart. I have spoken of your faithfulness and your salvation. I have not concealed your steadfast love and your faithfulness from the great congregation. Do not, O Lord, withhold your mercy from me. Let your steadfast love and your faithfulness keep me safe forever. For evils have encompassed me without number. My iniquities have overtaken me until I cannot see. They are more than the hairs of my head, and my heart fails me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let all those be put to shame and confusion who seek to snatch away my life. Let those be turned back and brought to dishonor who desire my hurt. Let those be appalled because of their shame who say to me, aha, aha. But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation say continually, great is the Lord. As for me, I am poor and needy, but the Lord takes thought for me. You are my help and my deliverer. Do not delay, O my God. So this is an interesting psalm. Brian, what are your first thoughts here?
Well, I think it's interesting, at least in some part, because it works exactly the opposite of the way you would expect it to. You would kind of expect to begin with the trouble that we see in verses 11 through 17. It doesn't. It begins with this confidence. It begins with someone who has really already been rescued. Somebody who's already been drawn out of the mud and muck and set solidly on the rock. And yet, after that rescue, after that confidence, we go back to, I need help. We go back to, don't make haste. Isn't that interesting? Or don't delay, make haste. Isn't that interesting?
Don't forget me.
Yeah. And we began with, I waited patiently on the Lord.
Which
we end with, do not delay.
Yes. I find all that very interesting. So I waited patiently for the Lord. That's in fact the very first verse. And you know what struck me? When do we have to be patient? When, if I wanted to be patient? When do I even think to be patient? Because I want everything now.
Right.
As I think we all do. And our society and our culture are drawn to that. Give me now. What can I access faster? There's an app for that. What can be more convenient for me? And Yet this person waited patiently, found deliverance, found rescue, found safe and sure foundation in the footing that God gave this person, but waited for it. And we're reminded later that this person is waiting again and is begging with a plea for mercy and for help and don't forget me, and I continue to sing your praises. And I don't know that we in the church, in society, as individuals, work on waiting. When's the last time we waited for God to give us an answer? I waited patiently at that. I just don't know that we do.
Well, let me ask this, because I think this is an important question. When is it difficult to be patient?
When I don't get what I want.
Let me push on that a little bit. When is it difficult to be patient? It's difficult to be patient when you are in pain.
That's true.
And it is...
so we need to move this to a deeper level.
I think so. I think that it's difficult to be patient when you're in pain. It's difficult to, in the pain, wait patiently. This is why we have emergency rooms. This is why we have 24-hour urgent cares, because we don't want to wait for doctor's office hours when we hurt. And that's what's going on here. I think that we've got someone who is really trying to wait patiently, and yet is in pain, and yet needs to say, God, hurry. God, do not delay. Here's what's going on in my life. You know, we get this mention. We get, my sins are great, more than I can count, more than the hairs in my head. We get that there are people who wish to hurt me. We get there are people who are accusing me, which is just this great turn of phrase here in this particular translation. Those people who say, aha, aha. Those people, you know, which, you know, you say when you get caught, right? We caught you. Aha.
See, told you.
You know, it's Sherlock Holmes language, right?
Yes, yes.
Aha, we got you. And yet, and what's said there is interesting to me. It's let those people be appalled by their shame who would tell me that I need to be appalled and ashamed. You know, there's this hurt here. And yet, in the midst of this hurt, there's confidence.
And this wonderful declaration, let's not miss that, those few verses, that because I have been pulled out of the miry bog, I have been rescued and put on solid rock that is you, O Lord. Because I have found that sure foundation, you have put a song in my mouth, you have put praises in my mouth, and I see what it is to trust in you, and in fear and awe and respect and love to see your many wondrous deeds, which are too many to count.
Sure.
And I think the themes I hear are, we need to have trust in God, and that when we have that song to sing, when we have that story of rescue and deliverance, when we know the good that God has done in our lives, when we know that if nothing else, I have sure foundation in God, when we find ourselves ready to know that and to sing those praises, then when we proclaim it loud, and we share and we witness that story, and we want to tell all those around, because we've not kept from doing it. We have continually done that, and that we hear also a hint in here that when I'm doing this offering of praise, when I'm witnessing, when I am sharing your story, then you don't need sacrifice and offering. You only need my open ear to hear you. So we hear about trust, an open ear to hear God, burnt offering, sin offering not needed, the call to say, here I am. Lord, continue to be with me, use me. I'm so thankful for the way that it's already happened in my life. And then with all of this, we hear that what needs to be changed is our heart, to see how we truly experience this. And that brings us to a corporate worship
Yeah.
in this part of the psalm. So that when we're able to say it and declare it, then we also then need to put it in terms of worship. But also to say that these offerings aren't needed is also a reminder of how much this person is in need, and that they couldn't afford a very high-priced offering anyhow. And that what is required is not just the check-off to-do list of, okay, I've done church, okay, I've given what I needed to, but for it to be felt, to open here to hear God, and for your law to be written on my heart. It is about how it is felt, and not simply a requirement, a process, a show in front of others, because it mentions the congregation many times in this psalm.
Sure. I think the beginning of that, the beginning of the felt repentance, the beginning of
because there is acknowledgement of sin,
sure,
and acknowledgement of God's wondrous deeds, but clearly the sin is still there, as it is for all of us.
Sure. I think the beginning of that is the open ear. It's that
that's definitely a turning point, I think.
that's an attentiveness to what God is saying. That's an attentiveness to kind of how we're living our lives. That's an attentiveness to what is harmful to us, what is harmful to others. That attentiveness is, I think, really kind of, that's what the Psalms in some ways are calling us to do. If you say that this is so much more than checking the boxes, moving past that is, I think, paying attention. It is...
Which is then paying attention to, if we're supposed to have an open ear for God, are there times that we are letting our ears get filled with something else?
Sure.
Another story, another source, another power is much stronger and overpowering how it is that we are supposed to hear God. And so our ears are getting clogged with the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I like the intentionality of that part of the psalm.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I think we should look for in the Psalms is where are we called to stop and listen, stop and look, where are we called to stop and see, and what are we being called to look for? And that can happen with a lot of different words in the Psalms. It can happen with meditate. Here it happens with the words open ears. Let's kind of watch for those places where we're being called to stop and really pay attention to God in our lives. Where do we see this attention elsewhere in this psalm? Look at the end. Look at verse 16. May all who seek you, rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation say continually, great is the Lord. There we see in the midst of all the trouble, in the midst of all the sin, in the midst of all of the judgment against this person in the psalm, here we see that in seeking God, we find the confidence to wait patiently on rescue. We find that confidence to hear God speaking and to know God is acting even in ways that are not readily apparent.
And hearing the individual in this psalm, I think it helps us to see, where do we find ourselves in this psalm? What resonates with us? But I like that it also takes to corporate worship, where this is about us in community, in God's congregation, and how we share and talk about this there, whether it's from witnessing to God's wondrous deeds and singing a song of praise, and making sure the world knows about the good that God does, or whether it's saying, well, you know what? I've opened my ear to God and this is what I've heard.
Sure.
It's one thing to do it individually, but how have you shared that? How have you recognized your learning and your depth of reflection and how it's touched your heart? And how are you willing to reflect on that with others? Maybe you find time to talk about it in a Sunday school class, one-on-one, taking someone out for coffee. Where have you been able to share that and pay attention to it? I think that's a good way to look at Psalm 40 today. So I invite you to worship at Church of the Covenant. I invite you to continue to share and to comment on this video. But most of all, I hope this touches your heart and opens your ear to what God is saying.